கூட்டாட்சி தத்துவ சிந்தனையாளர் பகுத்தறிவு சிந்தனை மிக்க கார்கா சட்டர்ஜி அவர்கள் இப்பொழுது.
I now welcome upon stage Mr. Garga Chatterjee, the Bengali nationalist, to speak on the topic as provided to him. Sir, welcome stage.
So I was thinking, because this is a post-lunch session, and in the post-lunch session, even if I was there in the post-lunch session, there was a 50-50 likelihood whether I would be in the hall or outside the hall. It's very natural. We are all human beings. And I was thinking what these three people would be thinking looking at a hall that is half full and half empty of students and youth. I think they would look at first a grand hall in the capital of the Tamil people, built with tenders given to Tamil people, with Tamils, Tamil youths having free entry into this hall, the right of easy entry into this hall, and also the choice to not be in this hall. So rights and choice, these are what these forefathers gave to us. Okay? These rights and choice are not automatic. We in Bengal are still fighting for a big hall built with Bengali tender, with Bengali students coming in and coming out. It's very important. You know not what you have, preserve it with all your might. It's very important. You know not what you have, preserve it with all your might. And in that way, you all and we are all children of C.N. Annadurai. We are all children of C.N. Annadurai because the language in which I am speaking 57 years after 1965? 57 years, right? I would not have received this training. I would not have a language to speak to you but for Arainar and Colonial and their movement. I would not be able to speak to you. And I would not have a big door to the world. I wouldn't have it. And today, all of those gains which we thought that we will gain more and more and more, 65 seemed to be a high point. And then it has gone down. So let me briefly touch on certain aspects and what can be done. And Commander M.K. Stalin has been showing some of the ways of countering. That is also true. We will mention those. First of all, let's understand the whole education policy and need and everything, all of these issues that exist. These are only small aspects. The idea is to destroy the concept of a state board, that there should be no entity called a state board. And remember, a state board is the only entity that you have that preserves the right of a Tamil to remain Tamil. It's very important. The right of a Bengali to remain Bengali. The right of a Oriya to remain Oriya. That's what they want to destroy. And replace it with what? CBSE. Or as we call in Bengal, Delhi Board. We have a better name. Delhi Board.
Good one.
So let's understand very briefly what is the deep structure of CBSE. Many people do not understand. Many people think a Union Ministry of Education, or now Education, earlier HRD, it is their board. Just like state government has a board, union government has a board. It's not that simple. So let's go back to British times. Okay? So British came to Bengal and to other parts then, and they ruled, and they brought their rulers from there, young folks, who sometimes raised families here, but they did not want, let's say the British officer posted in Bengal did not want her child to grow up Bengali and study in Bengal board, in Bengali medium. No, the whole idea is that we are higher than natives, right? So the idea is that we will keep some time, we will be in some time in this place, but finally we will go back to mother country, right? So how will my child who is born here seamlessly move into mother country? He has to get into the education system there, right? So at first, the only, let's say, social organization that used to be there for Britishers, a common social organization, was the church. So the church used to hold what are today called GCSE, GCE, O-level, A-level, but essentially at that point of time, you could call it the Cambridge entrance examination. It was senior Cambridge. Earlier people might have heard these names, senior Cambridge. What was the idea? That you may be growing up with natives, but we will denativize you and put you into mainstream London. Okay? But you can take the exam here. Number one. When numbers here started increasing, then we said not only exam taking center, let's have a separate set of schools which will follow that syllabus. Because at the end of the day, we have come here for colonial duty to rule over these natives, but we do not want to become natives. We want to maintain that difference. So, our children will grow up like us. Our children will not grow up like these inferior people whom we rule over and whom we loot and take to London, whose money we take to London. So they developed a board whose present form, by the way, is called ICSE. Okay, that's the present form. Later on, native elites also started making space into it because they want to go to London, right? And what is the way to go to London? You first sit in the back bench and then come up. And then when people are moving out, the whites are moving out, you're coming to the front bench. Okay? Much like the Madras Club. Okay? Then, of course, after 1947, which is a very key time, something happened. And then we have to go before it. Weren't there state boards in the British times? Yes, there were state boards. Bengal board was there. Madras board was there. But let me point out a few specific boards. Ajmer, Gwalior, UP, United Provinces at that point of time, etc., etc. These boards were for elites, as in Hindi-speaking elites of those areas, right? After 1947, through an All India Education Conference, see, whenever Hindi imperialism does something, it wants this prefix All India. Okay. Anyways, so they have an education conference where basically the combination of UP, Gwalior, Ajmer state boards bunched together became CBSE. So that becomes center. Center of what? Center of the Hindi belt, not our center, right? And what is its use? There are state boards already. There's ICSE already. So in Bangla we have a word which says "chu choy dhuke phal hoye berono," which means it enters like a needle and comes out like a big gash. So what is that needle? See, IAS, IPS is an all India service, so they are transferable. So our child will be 2 years in Tamil Nadu and 2 years in West Bengal and 2 years in Orissa. How can they cope? How is it possible? So let's have a school at least for these people where they can maintain a same syllabus. Which syllabus? Gwalior, UP, Ajmer syllabus. for administrators so that they do not have to learn like a native Bengali or a native Tamil or a native whatever, right? You can see the similarities. That administrators will come from Aryavarta, okay, to lower people's land, but they don't want to mix too much, especially intellectually, yeah, because otherwise they'll become like me. My ancestors came from UP and became Bengali and non-vegetarian, so it's dangerous. You cannot allow too much mixing, yeah. If a subgroup in your nationality has different food habits, it's not right. They are not mixing. If you are not mixing, if rest of the nationality does not consider you a part of the nationality, it is your problem. It is not Annadura or Periyar's problem. Okay? So, you know which guys I'm talking about. Okay? They still live in Adhiyar and Mylapore. So, but mostly they are thinking that they can do this by going to Delhi and US and PepsiCo. But when you lose your land, you lose everything. Okay? There is no homeland in the north. So, what I was coming back to is that this board, CBSE, was largely for a Hindi-speaking administrator who would not want his child to become like Bengalis, like Tamils, like Odiyas, whatever the case may be. And they can learn their stuff. What is their stuff? Let's take history. Have people heard about Pulakeshi II? Have people heard of that person? Have people heard about Harshavardhan? Harsha, as it's said. Have people heard about Shashanka, the king of Bengal? See, even you will learn all of this, they will learn all of this, we will learn all of this. But there's a difference. I'll tell you the difference. And this difference is something called, what we call embedded history. Like embedded journalism. During the first Gulf War, you had CNN doing embedded journalism. The tank is going towards Iraq and the journalist with his camera is on the tank. So he's looking at Iraqis. We are going towards Iraq or Kuwait, whatever it was. And that has become a style. So in their history, the history Delhi teaches, Harsha goes to the south to fight Pulakeshi II. Harsha goes to the east to fight Shashanko. He gets defeated both places. That's a different issue. They will in future always be defeated. That is also true. But when we learn our history, because it's embedded historian, right? They are moving with Harsha's army to the south. But imagine the historian being with Pulakeshi's army. What would he write? They will not write Harsha is coming to the south. They will write Harsha is coming from the north. An embedded historian with Shashanko will write Harsha is coming from the west. He is not moving to the east. It's a huge change in perspective, and this perspective means everything. Look at an NCERT board's syllabus or history book, let's say. History is important because our past determines our future. Do you know, let's say from 180 to 2022, who ruled in what is known as today's Bengal? You do not know. It's not there in the book. If you look at an NCERT book, will you know who ruled over Tamil Nadu, Kannada Nadu? Will you know? You will know from parts here and there, this and that. You will know from 180 to 2022 who ruled in Delhi. You will continuously know. It is not accidental. That's the continuous ruler. Not our ruler, their ruler. Huh? That ISS's ruler. Huh? So we must understand the structural issues, otherwise you will think our CBSE, our IAS, our IPL, none of this is yours. It's their CBSE, their IAS, their IPL, their RPF, their BSF. Unless they allow BSF, CRPF entrance exams in Tamil also like Hindi, then we will call it our. We do not only want to be, I want to join India, I love Indian Army. Of course we love Indian Army, but we do not only want to have Facebook DPs and covers. We want to join Indian Army, bloody. We want to join Indian Army. We do not want to be spectators in a stadium. We want to be in the field. In British times, when you had to face British bullets and freedom fighters of India were facing guns, fighting back with guns, and I come from a place which has a long history of that. Who can hold the gun against British? For India, for Indian independence? Anyone who has the guts. No Hindi test. And no salary. Free, might die, no Hindi test. Right? Post 47, salary, lesser chances of dying because you are the strongest force, and Hindi test. Freedom fighters did not give up their life to replace London and English by Delhi and Hindi. Okay? We have to understand this. And in understanding this, we have to invoke C.N. Annadurai's concept of sovereignty. When we say we, the people of India, when we can state that we are making a constitution, why can we make a constitution? Because we are sovereign. That's why we can declare to the world that we are making a constitution. But that's because we are sovereign. And who are we? Everyone. We do not stay only in Delhi or Bihar or UP. We is larger than the we they can imagine. Which is why C.N. Annadurai gave a brilliant concept of sovereignty, where sovereignty is additive. It's the sovereignty embedded by birth in the Bengali people, in the Tamil people, in the Oriya people, in the Bihari people, in the Rajasthani people, in the Gujarati people, which in the sigma makes Indian sovereignty. And because you have so many legs and components, that makes it strong. Think about a table with one leg and a table with 10 legs. Which is more stable? Think about it. That's Anna's vision. That this sovereignty, which is the table, the more legs it has, the more stable it is. The lesser number of legs it has. If it has one leg called Hindi, it's very unstable. Right? People have covered NEET, CUET, nursing, even nursing, people forget. They're also trying to get into nursing.
Even BA Tamil.
Yeah. I will not be going into that. But I want to say something. When we close our eyes, we can see, me as a Bengali, the map of West Bengal. If you close your eyes, you can see the map of Tamil Nadu. And in your imagination, during the Jallikattu movement, you can also reimagine it as a bull. I have seen those amazing kind of representations. But what is Tamil Nadu? Practically, what is this map? What taluks, what districts, what police stations? Largely, it is a demarcation of areas, contiguous areas where Tamil medium schools existed in 1947. Think about it. So our school boards are our frontier. State boards are not random things, they are our BSF outposts. Okay? We have our own BSF outposts. Those are called the domain of the state board, the domain of the Tamil Nadu state board, the domain of the West Bengal state board. These are not random things. And we always know that the power of the pen is mightier than the sword. Right? I would like to remind people of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Okay? And it's very sad. You might have heard about Vidyasagar. You have not heard about Vidyasagar. Because there is no way for me to talk to you except via Delhi. That's why you haven't heard of Vidyasagar. You have heard of Vidyasagar. Because they pronounce it that way. And you have heard it from them. You have not heard it from me. Hear it from me. We must talk to each other more. Distance from Calcutta to Chennai via Delhi is longer than Calcutta to Chennai. It's basic geography. You know, it's basic. And Vidyasagar, he formalized the Bengali script, standard Bengali script. And he wrote that primer, very famous primer, Borno Porichoy, which means introduction to the letters. Okay? He did many other things. But we often say, as a Bengali nationalist organization, Bangla Pukku, we often say, what is Bengal? It is the land demarcated by institutions where Borno Porichoy is the primer. So that is Bengal. I'm sure you have a similar primer, which is a classic. Think about it. What is Tamil Nadu? That is Tamil Nadu. Right? And it is not accidental that in 2019, when Amit Shah, who wants you and me to not communicate in the language that is taught in every school, in every board, in every state, which is English, but to speak in a language where they get votes from, his procession destroyed Vidyasagar's statue as it was moving. Like a bulldozer. They like this word nowadays. Yeah? What they do not realize, that we have bulldozers too. And in Bengal, whenever we start the bulldozer, we say Joy Bangla, which means victory to Bengal. Even the brand JCB has Joy and Bangla at the front and the end. Okay? At the very end, this is all danger story, but what is a positive story? Which the Premier of Tamil Nadu, M.K. Stalin, has actually started, and every state should emulate it. First, the demand to scrap NEET, but that requires a change in government at the union level. So that should be the prime political task at this moment, so that education is brought to the state list, so that we can do away with this bullshit forever. Okay? But in the time being, reservation for state boards. Okay? Very important, and recently I heard that 7.5% has been granted and the court has upheld it. I would like to have a copy, if anybody of you can give me a copy of the judgment, because we want it to. And I wonder, why is it 7.5%? In any state, most people study in the state board. Make it 75%, if not higher. Okay? Varga Tamil, Joy Bangla.